I've never done this before. So the good news is at 65, I still get to experience first things. You know, it's a big deal to me. I hope Maureen knows what she's doing. When Maureen invited me to speak, I said, what could I possibly speak on? And she said that she would like to hear me tell this, I guess, my journey that includes the 4 agreements, which is my big book, the fact that I was born to a Jewish family, and the Course in Miracles, and how it all knits itself together. I hold myself like a tapestry. Every thread is important, but no thread is totally responsible for keeping my dance together. And goodness knows I come from a colorful family, and so my tapestry can be a little loud and obnoxious. Sometimes we are featuring gray, but mostly vibrant colors. So I thought first I'd give you just a little background so that you had a sense of it. Though I was born of Jewish parents, they were much more Semitic than religious. And by that I mean the custom, the Yiddishkeit, because both my parents are first Americans born here. I don't have any grandparents that were born here. And that's important because of my notion of family. The family that I've built at 65 doesn't look much like the family that was given to me, but I learned the importance of including friends as family because, I have an adopted daughter. Blood is not the rule. The soul is the rule. So in 1987, at 36, is when I became a bat mitzvah. That's important because numerology is deeply embedded in Judaism. And 36, it was not lost on me that that's 2 times 18, and 18 is chai, 18 is luck and life. So I decided, like a convert, to embrace my faith. I koshered my kitchen, which meant the dishes and the silverware got buried in the backyard. And I installed a second dishwasher so as not to mix milk and meat. And when I would go to my parents' home for dinner, it was fish, or my mother would go to a kosher butcher. And about 3-4 years in, and Sunday nights were usually when the Schultz kids gathered and with the parents. We were all adults by this time, of course. And my mother really made all sorts of efforts. And one night she made my favorite dinner, which happens to be a veal breast with a pocket. You stuff it with potatoes, it's delicious. And she wrapped up what was left and gave it to me to bring home. And I told her I couldn't bring it home because my house is kosher and my mother's house wasn't kosher. And my mother burst into tears. I felt terrible, but I went home. As I'm pulling in my driveway, I had like an epiphany that the 10 Commandments, which unites so many different faiths, one of them is honoring thy father and thy mother. There's nothing in there about kashrut. So I got back in my car and I drove back and I apologized to my mother and I stopped keeping kosher. The notion that something that I could do that could make my mother cry was really too much for me to bear, and I felt at peace with that decision. But I'm a simple-minded thing. And so remembering the 10 Commandments and trying to do them all, it's just... 1996, I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in the original Barnes & Noble bookstore. And there's a rack at the cash register that's featuring what I think was a new book. I might be wrong about this little factoid. The Four Agreements. And I'm reading the cover, and it resonated with me. So I bought the book. My friend Marion said, what book is that? This book is going to tell me who I am. And she said, well, lucky for me, I know who I am. I said, well, I don't. So I bought the Four Agreements. I loved every word. I loved every word. And here are the Four Agreements, just so you know. Number one, be impeccable with your word. And the word impeccable has at its root, without sin. So that takes care of gossiping. That takes care of mean-spiritedness. It takes care of a lack of kindness that serves no purpose. Do not take anything personally. This is a really good one for people that you feel don't like you, because then you can just push them back. But it also is true for when somebody says, I love you. Because just like the unkind word is about the person who says it, so is the I love you. Because it's about whatever movie they're playing in their mind. And that's how people get into trouble, when they think it's them. And God gives us one, as far as I can tell. At least nobody's ever come back and told me personally you get another shot at it. But the one life, just to speak the truth and don't take it personally. And then number three is don't make assumptions. And I remember when I was younger that somebody told me, about the word assume, it makes an ass out of you and me. And that's the third agreement, and I felt I could do that one too. The fourth one, easiest to understand, most difficult to do, always do your best. And with those 4 rules, the 10 are covered in one way or another, or whatever lofty notion you have for yourself. The 4 cover everything for me. And so I began a practice of giving as how new people, they start speaking the gospel. They got to sell it. And I'm a salesman by profession, so this was natural to me. And so everybody I met, if they said that they thought it was interesting, I would give them a copy of the book. And the deal was that if it resonated with you, then you could keep the book with my compliments. If it didn't, please return it to me so that I can give it to somebody else. And since 1996, I've given out about 100 copies of the book. Only 2 came back. One from my lawyer. He's not my lawyer anymore. So, people that know me know of my adoration of my younger brother, who unfortunately left the planet Earth in December of 2014. And I'm sort of I still feel bad about it. I can't, no matter what I do, I can't feel good about it. He was my mentor as well as being my younger brother. And so for the first 25 years of our lives, because we only had a couple years apart, I looked after him, but for the balance, he was looking after me. And my brother found something called EST, Earhart Seminar Training. And like a convert, he's trying to sell the family, and the family is royally pushing back. But he went up the chain. Sometime in the 80s, I think, is when it morphed into the Forum. And then Landmark, I think, Education bought it. And my brother's family and circle tended to be people that had taken the Forum. And at first I was judgmental about that notion, because why shouldn't you just grab onto everybody? And but then I understood, because it's another way of speaking. It's taking care about the intention of the word, which of course goes back to my 4 agreements that I love so much. So in 2005, after 35 years of begging, I took the Forum. And I'm a snail. It takes me time to figure out what I'm going to do. But the forum was a very good thing for me personally. So I finished the forum, and Howard says, okay, now Course in Miracles. I said, so I buy the book. And the book sat on a shelf. I would look at it. I tried to read it. It was just impossible. It does not read easily. So then in 2013, in June, Lola, who's at Bodie, I don't know how many people know Lola. Lola says, you have to meet Maureen, because Maureen's going to do the workbook lessons in the Course in Miracles. And so we meet and we chat, and I sign up 21 days. I can do that. I can do almost anything for 21 days. So what's interesting is I didn't even know the workbook was in the book. I didn't. I said, so where do I buy the workbook? And Maureen says, well, you've got the text. I said, yeah, I got that big blue book. But no, it's in there, Bonnie. I never got past like the 10th page or reading it. And so I was set. And so we started together. So now we just, July 1st, started our 4th cycle. Last year I did, the first 2, it took me 2 to figure it out a little bit. The 3rd was in memorial to my brother. And the 4th is all about me. So as you can see that it really is for me. I want to do well by doing good. And that's something else, a simple thought. Sometimes circumstances make it challenging, but the Course in Miracles for me, along with my addiction to attempting the 4 agreements every day, along with the lessons I learned from the lack of religiosity in my family, that still allowed me to take the journey into religiosity. It all knits together. And so I'm a happy plaid. I got nothing else. Just
So what do you think? I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below, or you can go ahead and sign up for our newsletter at SpeakEasySpiritualCommunity.com so we can keep the conversation going. Because SpeakEasy is all about engaging in engaging conversations. Everything is better when we all share our voice. I'm Maureen Muldoon, your spiritual vixen, reminding you to love more and fear less, and don't forget to laugh. What do you say?